Hey guys, it's Miss Johnson. We are going to, in a video format, talk about the same thing we talked about in class, which is introducing ourselves to linear equations, or linear functions, the equation, the table, the graph, and scenarios. And I'm going to introduce you to the slope-intercept form of an equation, which is y equals mx plus b. We'll be using this format more than any other format because it's so convenient. This is called the slope intercept form because the m is our slope and the b is our intercept. Let's look at that with actual numbers. So the m, aka our slope, is our slope. It's our rate. It's our rate of change. It's the thing we're adding every single time to make it linear growth or linear decay. All right, and then the other number is our starting point or our y-intercept. It's the number that kind of anchors our equation and it hits the y-axis. Hits the y-axis. Okay, and we'll see that when we're making equations down here. I'm going to do 2 examples with you, and then you're going to do 4 examples on your own, and you're going to submit those through Schoology through the assignment. Okay, and then also, when you're graphing, you can either, learn how to graph on the computer, or you can draw your own graph, right? You can just, on your piece of notebook paper, you can draw like kind of an L with some tick marks, and you can, plot the points and draw a straight line. And if it doesn't look perfect, that's totally fine. But for today, the way we're going to submit graphs is I want you to write this on a piece of paper, take a picture, and then work to submit that to Schoology. You can do it through the Schoology app. You can do it by uploading your pictures somewhere on the internet and then doing it through just a regular web page, through like Google Photos. You can email it to yourself. You can put it in a Word document. But the kind of challenge today is to write your notes on paper and then submit your work through a picture. Okay, let's get started. Scenario number 1, and this one's number 2. All right, Sierra has $14, and every time she buys one McDonald's value meal, she spends $3. Okay, I am going to point out my starting point in orange. Starting point. And I'm going to point out my rate of change in green. Let's do the table first. No, I lied. Let's define our variables first. I am going to make my x-axis McDonald's value meals purchased. And I'm going to make my y-axis money I have. The y-axis and the starting point will always match up, which is why I made my y dollars and my x McDonald's. So I'm going to say x is McDonald's meals and y is dollars Sierra has. All right, for the table, XY, when we've bought 0 McDonald's value meals, we have $14. And that's because our starting point is always at x equals 0 and y equals whatever our starting point was. Okay, and the way we get to our next point is we say when we add 1 McDonald's meal, we spend, so subtract $3. We add 1 more meal and get to 2 meals. We spend $3 more and do 11 minus 3 is 8. Let's do another one just for fun. We add another meal. We spend another $3. And we could keep going. So our table is finished. If we wanted to do our equation next, we would put our pattern is y equals something times x plus something. The thing in the back is our starting point. So again, I'll do that in orange. And then the number in the front is our slope. And that is always the y-axis. So $3 divided by the x-axis, 1 meal. So again, rate, let's move this up. This is change in y divided by change in x. And then if we wanted to simplify this, 3 divided by 1 is just 3. So this becomes 3x plus 14 is our equation. And then finally, we'll do the graph. I am going to make these axes a little bit better. Okay, so our starting point, oh, I should have done those in orange. Let's try to dye that black. Nice. Okay, our starting point is at 14. So we're going to make each of these be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So our starting point is the dot on the y-axis at 14. Then our rate going over one Happy Meal, or one value meal, sorry, over one value meal goes down $3. So here's our next point. We go down $3 over one Happy Meal. Down $3. Sorry, I always get Happy Meals. Down $3 over one value meal. Down $3 over one value meal. And then we can connect these dots. And that is our linear graph. All right, so again, we have a scenario, we have an equation, we have a table, and we have a graph. Let me actually pick a different scenario here so we can have one with addition and one with subtraction. So here, let's do this one. Copy this, paste it on Paint, and we're gonna go for this one. Okay, so the next scenario I want to do with you guys is at the beginning of school, Aldo had borrowed, everyone who says they're going to borrow pencils, but really they just steal them. He had 2 borrowed mechanical pencils, and then he steals another pencil every 4 days. Okay, so let's do the same thing. Let's do our starting point in orange. At the beginning of school, so the beginning is 2 borrowed pencils. And then the rate at which he borrows them is 1 pencil every 4 days, and that's a 4. All right, let's define our variables, x and y. Y is always the one with the starting point, so the y is pencils. And the x is days, how many days it takes him to borrow pencils. Let's do the equation first this time. We have y equals something x plus something. The back part, the b, is our starting point. He starts with 2 pencils, our y-intercept. And then the rate is always the number of pencils divided by the number of days, right? The y divided by the x. If we write this all in line, we get that the equation is 1/4 x plus 2. Great. If we have instead a table, our starting point is at 0 days. He has 2 pencils because, again, starting points always have x equals 0 and y is the thing that he starts with. And then the way we use the rate is we add 4 days when we add 1 pencil. So our next x is 4 and our next pencil is 1. Or sorry, 1 more, so 3. If we want to get another point on the table, we add 4 days. We add 1 pencil. And again, we can add 4 days and add 1 pencil as many times as we want. All right, let's go to the graph now. I'm going to label my axes. I'm going to label this as pencils. I'm going to label this as days. And then I'm going to start at my starting point, going straight from the scenario to the graph. On day 0, he has 2 pencils. So we put a dot on 2. Then I say when I go over 4 days, over 4 days, 1, 2, 3, 4, I go up 1 pencil. Or I could have said up 1 pencil means over 4 days. Up 1 pencil is over 4 days. And then we can connect this line to be our linear line. And I should have done the over 4 up 1 or up 1 over 4 is in green because that's the part that's the rate. And all this is in orange because all the orange parts are the starting points. Okay, guys, that is what we're going to do. You're going to do 4 more of these. They should either look like you're adding the same thing every time, like the second example, or you're subtracting the same thing every time, like the first example. If you have questions, email me or come to office hours. All right, guys, good luck. I'll see you on Thursday.